All right, here we go. We're gonna do our upgrades right now, and we have Jim Culver. I want to say Jim Baker, but that's the guy who writes the Harry Dresden files. Okay, so everything looks right. I got the correct taboo list, the correct number of cards, and XP's 5 upgrade. Start. Okay, upgraded Rite of Seeking. Uses 3 charges. Investigate using will instead of books. You get +2 will for this test. If successful, you discover 2 additional clues at this location. If a skull or other bad token is revealed, you immediately lose your turn. I really don't know that I've been paying enough attention to that. That might have been something that I made a mistake on earlier. We also have upgraded Clairvoyance, which is similar, but only causes us to take horror, and it's cheaper and better. You get +3 will, discover more clues, and it only rewards for good tokens. I guess it's the same cost, but it also commits for. Yeah, man, that's just a better upgrade. Emergency cash is quite good, but I mean, honestly, spending 5 experience on this seems like a pretty reasonable use of my time, and it's going to be the only 5 experience card we're going to get as Jim. So the main issue with it, of course, is that you only get like, I don't know, 3 will's a lot. That means we don't have to spend resources on will for that particular investigation. The 2 additional clues is tricky because, like, in 2 investigator decks, like, you often find yourself in situations where there's only 2 clues on a location, but sometimes you get 2 times the number of investigator clues, and in those situations, Clairvoyance is going to be fairly all-star. It also synergizes well with newspaper. So Jim's decks is going to be pretty simple to upgrade. I think we already have 2 Clairvoyances, so I go to the deck, I upgrade, I say 5 experience. We are going to add a campaign card, which is Armitage, Henry Armitage. It's Dr. Henry Armitage, I think. There we go. And we're going to add the Rite of Seeking. No, wait. It's the Clairvoyance. Here we go. Deck quantity 1. And then standard cards, Rite of Seeking, level 5. What's the difference between this and the level 4? This one costs 2 XP. You get a +2 will bonus and you just discover 1 additional clue. Oh, okay, so like that would actually just be the better one to get, but that's fine. Okay, and then we are still stuck with higher education and a couple of other things, but Henry Armitage will help us discard those terrible, terrible cards. So even though Jim's deck is full of garbage, it's also full of very, very good rituals. So we'll make it work. Still need a way to extend our ritual slots, like a familiar spirit or something. I don't even know if those are in the format, but maybe we'll find something. Let's hope. Okay. Zoe's got the next thing. 2021 628 and good to go. Charisma. I think Charisma just always wins out in Dunwich. A Machete is a very good card, but Charisma. Okay, get over here. Okay, so I think Zoe already has a get over here. That is a thing, right? It is a really powerful card. Let's double check what Zoe's deck does. No, I don't have a get over here. That would be pretty worth it. It's the remaining 2 experience, so we can either use that or we can use Evidence level 1, which gives us 2 clues if we defeat an enemy with a combined total of 4 printed health. And also gives us resources, which, you know, it only costs resources. It's not terrible. I think Get Over Here is a nice spirit that actually works pretty well. Galvanize is a bit more expensive and honestly a bit less action efficient. Get Over Here allows us to basically just summon a Will-o'-the-Wisp that's being bothersome and immediately kill it. It also allows Zoe to engage with enemies that are way too far away from her. This counteracts her weakness where she spawns enemies really far away from her, so I think this is actually pretty reasonable. Okay, so permanent is added. We have a new event, so we have to cut 1 of Zoe's cards, but the upgrade's going to be pretty straightforward as well. I'm really, really glad that we got Charisma. That is not necessarily a neutral offering that we're guaranteed to get. So I very rarely play Fleshboard. I just never have the resources for it. It's so strong, but like I just never have the time or the value for it, and it is specifically only for enemy attacks. Um, I think the Bandoliers are probably more important than the Flesh Ward at this point, but yeah, I don't think I ever use this card. I think the cost is just too much. Like, Guardians are too busy playing so many other expensive cards. I think we can just do that. So get over here, level 2, Counterpunch level 2. We have Charisma now, so we can play both Greet and Francis and have extra fight, which is really, really good. And hopefully we can pick up some new allies that can do some other good things for us. All right, that's our upgrades. So when we come back, we'll do more drafting. And I think this is actually the start of the video, not the end of the video. But I don't even know. I'm recording. Life is weird. Anyways, on to the game. All right, decks are built. We are going to be attempting to deal them out and just hit that lovely build all button. Should make 2 34 card decks, done and done, and we get a Charisma as well, which is definitely pretty sweet. Okay, so we can't hit the number key over the draw here because we've changed our color to black, which allows us to be sort of the game master. It basically gives us access to hidden information and therefore will allow us to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So that's pretty sweet. I'm not sure if we'll keep to this particular style. I kind of like the camera angles bit because, like, even though it does mean that we are like unable to look at both players' hands simultaneously, I do think that it allows us to at least like have access to some of the common player functions. One of the things that's going to really bother me, I think, is that if I press 1 here or press a number here to draw cards, instead of drawing cards, I'll deal those cards to every other player. So I have to be really careful about that. But if I manage to get that under control and just continue to be GM, then that should be really good for a solo run. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we've got 245 automatics, which super good gun, a little expensive, but definitely worth it. We have a Get Over Here, which is great for like Will-o'-the-Wisps and things, but it isn't super good here. In fact, it's actually very bad here. Something about this one is that this one is actually, I think, really focused around like a single enemy. So while we want guns for sure to fight that enemy, I feel like ways to engage enemies from high distances may not actually be all that important. One thing about Get Over Here is that we can like lure the hunting horror away or like push it into different locations, but I think most of the time when it shows up, we're just going to kill it. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, level 2 Bandolier seems great. Boxing gloves, that's excellent. We now have guns and gloves, which is great, and counterpunch. Okay, that's a pretty strong setup. I feel pretty good about that. Yeah, we don't have Francis Morgan or anything, but that seems like all that Zoe needs to really start fighting monsters. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to like investigate for a lot of clues, which is a little rough. Okay, so, and we don't change colors because we're just going to look at Jim's setup. Clairvoyance, we absolutely need the ability to investigate here. Arcane Studies, that's incredibly powerful. This gets set aside, and Alyssa Graham. So this is the one where we can look at the top card of either the encounter deck or the player deck, add Doom to Alyssa Graham to place the looked at card on the bottom of the deck. Jim does have some ways to interact with this. He has the ability to remove Doom from the card. And there are like 3 agendas, so you'll get 3 chances to sort of like peek and potentially put something very bad on the bottom. But I think in general, Alyssa is like one of our weaker cards, and I'm much more interested in like eventually trading her out. So I'm going to draw 2 more. We get Henry Armitage, which is great. I got a Crystal Pendulum, which is pretty bad, but that's okay. 2 Pendulums is more will for tests, so I guess we'll just have to live with that. Okay, beyond that, I think we're ready to go. We've got the 1 mental trauma on Zoe, because that stuff is permanent, and double checking that our numbers are correct. 424, 4332, all good. Yeah, we look solid. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's read the thing. Several months ago, Armitage and his colleagues stopped a rampaging horror from tearing through Dunwich, a backwater town several hours north and west of Arkham. At first you imagine this beast as a rabid bear, or worse, but the professor's description of the creature paints an entirely different picture. It all began when a man named Wilbur Whately entered the Orrin Library looking for Olaus Wormius's Latin translation of a book called the Necronomicon. Wilbur already possessed a beaten-up English translation by Dr. John Dee, but it was insufficient for his purposes. Armitage turned the man away, fearing what use the strange man had for the book. Whately returned in secret, hoping to steal the book, but was attacked by a hound guarding the university. Armitage, Rice, and Morgan later discovered Whately's body. A description of the foul corpse, semi-anthropomorphic and covered in fur with a leathery hide and greenish-gray tentacles, causes you to question whether or not Whately was truly human. My colleagues and I were quick to put the ordeal behind us, Armitage says with a sigh, but it seems that things haven't fully resolved themselves. I'll tell you the rest later, but for now it is imperative that we get our hands on that copy of the Necronomicon. If my instincts are correct, the assailants you have encountered will be searching for it. After all that transpired, I didn't feel safe keeping it at the library, so I brought it to my good friend, Harold Walstead. He is the current curator of the Miskatonic Museum. I thought it would be safe in the museum's restricted hall, but now I'm not so sure. You must retrieve it at all costs. I fear terribly what they could do with the rights contained in its pages. All right, so proceed to setup. Gather the cards we did. We already shuffled the administration and security offices, set up the exhibit deck. I even put a little note on it to not shuffle it because that would be a mistake. Set the following cards aside out of play: Harold Walstead, Adam Lynch, and the Necronomicon, and shuffle the remainder of the encounter cards to build the encounter deck. The Void is a place next to the Act and Agenda deck where hunting horrors go, and also we have to remember to always resolve the forced ability on the next agenda when we're spawning the first one, which is just a minor note about, like, it's like an errata, basically. Everything else should be the same. We have, like, new locked doors and new beyonds and new other things happening, and it looks like there's some Return to the Miskatonic Museum cards, too, so we'll see how that goes. There's also going to be some new exhibit halls. I'm not sure I've seen these, so I guess we'll find out. So without further ado, let's flip to museum entrance. The Miskatonic Museum is an opulent and stately building supported by expeditions funded by the university. Its sizable collection of exotic artifacts, curios, and art has drawn visitors from all over the country. Investigators at the museum entrance can't gain resources. You can resign as an action. As you approach the museum, you can draw your coat tighter around your body to keep the wintry air away. The full moon drapes the building in ominous bright moonlight. Okay, cool. Dr. Armitage has given the university's Latin translation of the Necronomicon to his associate Harold Walstead, the curator of the Miskatonic University Museum. Worried that someone might still be after the book, you've gone to the museum to recover it. When the hunting horror enters play, you attach the set-aside copy of Shadowspawn to it, or add a resource to Shadowspawn if it's already attached. I believe the set-aside copy of Shadowspawn is right here. Yep. So we'll just keep that in mind. Finding a way inside. Unfortunately, the entrance to the museum is kept locked at this late hour. A security guard is visible through the building's front windows, oblivious to his surroundings. Perhaps you can find a way to get his attention and convince him to let you in. Okay, so it doesn't look like there is an easy way. Oh, museum entrance gains test 5 to attempt to break down the door to the museum. If you're successful, you immediately advance to Act 1B. So Zoe can potentially make a very difficult fight test to just break the doors down. That gives us a different entrance, but I think that here it's probably not going to be super valuable. We'll probably just want to grab the clues. So yeah, in this case, we're probably going to run with Jim first and then just run Zoe into the building as soon as we can. Clairvoyance, Crystal Pendulum is kind of what we need. I could do like Arcane Studies and then like Clairvoyance at 5 against 3. But I feel like setting down Crystal Pendulum would be a pretty solid play too. This is interesting. Dr. Henry Armitage, Crystal Pendulum, and Clairvoyance are all really good. If we just discard whatever our next card is, then we effectively get an emergency cache. So we could do 2 and 2, have 1 resource left, emergency cache for the Clairvoyance, play the Clairvoyance, and then be investigating still 5 against 3, which wouldn't be all that great. Huh. So getting the first clues might actually take us a little time, and we can't gain resources at this location, notably, so that causes problems too. So maybe what I just need to do is go 5 against 3 with Clairvoyance, like Arcane Studies, Clairvoyance, and then hope that I get it. Oh, but we also have a Crystal Pendulum to commit to that, so we'd be like 3 against 3. Okay, that's probably the best way to start. So starting in the investigation phase, do we want to do our picture-in-picture here? I think I have to get rid of this one because I'm just not going to be able to keep track of both of them. Okay, so set up our Doom and our General Act deck. Move that aside. A little bit crooked. Hi, 1 second. There we go. Done and done. Unlock. Cool. All right. With that, I think Jim's gonna go Clairvoyance. Action 1. Arcane Studies. Action 2. Spend a resource. Discard a Crystal Pendulum to test 6 against 3. And just to check, There's a -2, a -3, a -4, and a -5, where if you fail, you discard an asset you control. Oh, that sucks. I can't do better than -3 unless I discard Armitage, which I'm not going to do because I'm out of resources. So 6 against 3, here we go. -4, that's not great. That's also the end of the round for Jim, which is, yeah, super unfortunate. Okay. Well, Zoe's got 5 resources, so we can definitely start with boxing gloves, bandolier, and then draw a card. But that's got to be our entire investigation phase, and now we're stuck without being able to gain resources at the museum entrance, which, yeah, that's not good. It's actually pretty bad. Okay, so from there, man, if we fail this too many times, we're going to run into a lot of trouble. I can't gain resources. I have Armitage left to, like, commit to, like, a 5-book test. Spent a resource +1 to get 6. Maybe we do have to commit Armitage to get another 6 against 3. That's really unfortunate. I don't love that. Okay, regardless, enemy phase upkeep. It's only a card, not a resource, because Miskatonic is bad. Okay, and then from there, we add a Doom to the agenda because of Mythos, and we deal encounters. I switched Zoe and Jim so that the encounters are dealt left to right, just because that makes more sense to me. Inexplicable Cold, test 4 speed. For each point you fail by, you must either choose and discard a card from your play area or from your hand, or take a damage. Okay. Not a fan. Counterpunch is not that important at the moment. So that'll help a little bit with the damage taking. Although we can choose and discard it too, which, you know, it's pretty minor. Alright, Counterpunch and maybe 45 automatic comes out too, honestly. That's going to be 2 speeds for 4 against 4. -1, we still have to discard another card or take a damage. I'll take a damage. Alright, pretty rough. What about you, Jim? What's up? You've got Overpower, your test is... Oh wait, no, you've got Slithering behind you. Hunting Horror is in play, add a Doom to it. If it's not in play, search the encounter deck discard pile in the void for Hunting Horror and spawn at your location engaged with you, shuffle the encounter deck. Okay, cool. So we have to search for the Hunting Horror, which I think is in the encounter deck. Here we go. Hi, friend. And we'll probably have to kill it this round, because there's not a lot else that's going to be able to work. What is the deal? 1 and 1? And Jim's evade's not great either. This would be definitely a good place to have evasion. I think the Hunting Horror is going to be a tough one for us. Okay, so yeah. Well, this is not a good start. We go to the investigation phase now. Jim still needs to hit that museum entrance. And Zoe still needs to do things that aren't dying. Now we've paid all our resources and we gain no more. So if I engage, I can fight twice or I can evade at 2 against 2. Pretty terrible. Jim's got evade at 2 against 2 as well. I mean, Zoe can just punch it 3 times. 5, 5, 5. Each time we miss, we'll hit Jim, but that will just get rid of it. Hitting the Hunting Horror early is definitely a problem. Alright, let's have Zoe do 1 punch. 5 against 7 against 2. That's a tablet, which is a -4. It immediately attacks Zoe, but we do succeed and deal with damage to it. And Jim draws a card, which we need right now. Find clothes. Okay. That's for parlay actions. I don't think we have any parlay actions to take this time around. Zoe punches again, 5 against 2. Auto fail, which means we hit Jim for a damage. Things are just not going good. Zoe punches again 5 against 2. Cultist, that's a -3, which does succeed. So we deal 2 damage to it. Cool. Alright, that leaves Jim to try to evade 3 against 2, which I don't love. But yeah, -2 does not succeed. I think we evade again here, 3 against, or 2 against 2, because skulls are still pretty good for us overall. And they're not even -4s because they're skulls. -2 still doesn't succeed. Yeah, at this point, actually I should be just punching. Whoops. We can either punch the hunting horror or we can investigate. I think we're going to investigate. Clairvoyance, pitching... Do we pitch Henry Armitage? It's currently 4 against 3. I guess we pitch Henry Armitage for 6 against 3. That's the only way we're going to get this. -4. Failure. I mean... that resign option's starting to look pretty good right now. So yeah, the investigation takes a damage and a horror, and then enemy phase we take another one because we didn't re-engage the hunting horror. Enemy phase is done. Upkeep, we draw a card each. We don't gain resources. Jim loses all his resources. That's fine. What's Zoe up to? Got a dynamite blast. That's a good way to kill a hunting horror, but not right now. Okay, that's upkeep. So Mythos phase, the Doom goes to 2. Counters are dealt. Dark bidding, attach dark bidding to hunting horror even if it's out of play. Hunting horror attacks an investigator. The investigator must take an additional damage and additional horror, heal 2 damage, and then discard dark bidding. Cool. So definitely don't get attacked by this thing. Night Beyond Void, place 1 resource on Shadow Spawn, even if it's out of play, victory 0. So that just goes straight into the victory pile, and Shadow Spawn now gets a resource, which, oh wait, no. It gets a resource, what? It's already on Shadow. Okay, so it's got an extra fight now, and an extra health, and everything's bad. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a fan. Okay, Investigator Phase. Zoe, Vicious Blow, fighting 6 against 3. Because everything is bad. 0 succeeds, discard Hunting Horror. And it goes to the Void, and the Shadow Spawn goes with it. So we add a resource to Shadow Spawn. Cool. It's super big now, which is bad. We don't like that. At this point, Jim has to investigate again. We're going to throw a Dynamite Blast at that, and probably a Taunt as well. That's going to be 6 against 3. -3 succeeds, so we get both clues. And we can advance the act. What a bad time. Alright. Flip it. So, you find the window nearest to the guard and tap it loud enough to get his attention. He gives a startled jump, then shifts open the window. What do you want? He asks timidly. Explain the situation to him and tell him he's in grave danger. He warily opens the front door to the museum, shaking his head. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. Choose an investigator to take control of the set-aside Adam Lynch asset, reveal in museum halls, advance to Act 2A, Night at the Museum. The Necronomicon is being kept in a restricted hall somewhere in the museum. Adam barely knows his way around and gives a startled jump at every creak of the old building. I just started here last week, he explains. What sort of trouble did you say was going on? You haven't the heart to give him the full story. An investigator enters the exhibit hall, restricted hall, advance. Okay, so that was action 1 for Jim. Wait, hang on a sec. I didn't resolve the rest of Zoe's turn. We have to, I think, draw a card and draw a card. Since we can't do anything else this turn, because we can't move yet. Is there anything else that would be good? No. And I also forgot to, before I draw cards, search the top 6 for a spirit, which we found. And I won't shuffle here until after I draw these cards, because... yeah, that was a mess, but Zoe's turn is resolved. Okay, Jim's still got 2 actions left in his turn. We're going to move out of the museum halls, because they suck. Into the museum halls, rather. Museum halls is connected to each copy of the exhibit hall. Investigators in the museum halls spend one per investigator clues as a group to put the top card of the exhibit to stack into play, unrevealed. Let's go to the security office since we got the security officer. Plaque next to this doorway reads security. The door is ajar and you catch the scent of blood. Look at the revealed side of an exhibit hall in play or the top card of the exhibit deck once per turn for 1 action. Huh. Alright, there's 4 clues here at a shroud value of 3. Somebody must have left the security office in a hurry. Blood stains the floor under the desk nearby. There are some maps of the museum in here as well. Okay, yeah, that's it. Upkeep. Gain a resource, draw a card. Zoe draws a card. Jim drew his second basic weakness, so Final Rhapsody. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just skulls. Okay, I thought it was all symbols, but it's actually just skulls. So we can choose to treat the star as a skull, but I think we won't. That's no damage. Huh, I actually thought that was all bad symbols, but that's significantly less bad than I thought it was. Okay, what's Zoe got going on? I've already switched back to just like switching between characters. I think that's fine. Unexpected courage seems fine. Let's go ahead and control 0 there. Okay, cool. So yeah, that should help. And then Zoe did not get to gain a resource because everything's terrible. Enemy phase. Upkeep phase. We did. Mythos phase. Doom goes to 3. Encounters are dealt. Left to right. Secret door. Attach the location with the most investigators and without a secret door attached. Test 3 will search for the... I think I'm actually going to put it on Jim. Because while it locks him in the security office, it's better than Zoe being locked in the museum entrance. Even though Zoe doesn't have much to do right now, and Jim kind of wants to do some investigating, so I guess it's fine. We'll just lock Zoe in there. It's just like I'm testing 6 against 3. That's okay. Okay, Jim, your encounter. Test 3 books. If you failed, lose an action for each point you failed by. That's a little rough. Jim's not here right now, so yep, we're just straight 3 against 3. Got an auto fail, so we lose all of our actions for the turn. Cool. No amount of anything would have helped us with that. I could have put Arcane Studies in there, but it would have actually just cost us a resource as well. So things are going bad, I would say. All right, Investigator phase. Zoe, action 1. 6 will against 3. 0 succeeds. We're going to move into the museum halls as action 1. Oh, wait, no, this is action 2. Okay. Action 3, do we want to go into the administration office? A sturdy wooden door with a plaque next to it reads administration. In the hall outside the doorway, you see a row of paintings depicting the museum's many curators throughout the years, each is adorned with their name and years of employment. Perhaps it's just your imagination, but they look more distressed in recent years. Alright, action 3, we're going to go in here. I'm a little worried about the hunting horde jumping on Jim, but you can't investigate administration office while you have 4 or fewer resources. This office is meticulously organized from the books in alphabetical order on the shelves to the stacks of forms organized by category on each desk. A coat is draped over one of the nearby chairs. Perhaps somebody other than the security guard is still here at this late hour. Okay. Well, Zoe can gain some resources and play a magnifying glass, so that'll be something, I guess. Overall, pretty bad turn, considering Jim just doesn't do anything. Upkeep, resource in a card. Upkeep, resource in a card. Jim can't draw weaknesses anymore, so we don't need to check on what this is. Ooh, but it is a upgraded rite of seeking, which I'm very into. Okay. Mythos, Doom goes to 4. Encounters. A baleful welcome. Investigate, fight, evade, move, or play. I'm going to say fight and move. Oh, each investigator can't perform each chosen action. Also, this is Zoe's encounter card, because left to right. Fight and evade? How about evade and move? That sounds... No, cause if it's Zoe's, then we need fight and move. or fight and evade, or fight and play. I think fight and move. Jim? Impressive Mists. After Investigator at this location, draws cards. Ugh. Horrible. Test 3 will to hold on to your cards. Okay, everything's bad still, but okay, we can't fight or move this round. And we go to the investigation phase. Let's start with Zoe. I think her turn's really... Well, I really want to gain a bunch of resources here. I could literally just go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can pick up all the clues next turn. Or I could draw a card. Zoe's Cross. Beautiful. We really need an emergency cache right now. I'm not trying to do anything other than gain resources right now. Let's draw another card. Counterpunch. I guess we gain a resource here. This is terrible. Everything's bad right now. Okay, Jim. You really want to play Crystal Pendulum. I know that much, but we also need more resources. So that we can do our investigate with Rite of Seeking. Draw a card. Shriveling, cool. Draw a card. Ritual Candles, cool. I think we just play Crystal Pendulum because, like, even though we need resources and other things, like, we do need to be able to actually investigate things. All right, I didn't mean to do that. That's the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing happens. Upkeep, resource and a card. Resource and a card. Zoe, did you get something to gain resources? Nope, not a thing. That's fine. We're gonna gain a resource, fast play Magnifying Glass, investigate. Because life is bad. Mythos, Doom, are oh boy, Hunting Horror spawns. In the shadows of the museum hall, a terrible creature slithers forth, long and serpentine, and propelled by black glittery wings. It spawns in the museum hall, so if shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. All right. Hi, bud. So you're in the museum halls, which is the main location. You got shadow spawned on you. And when you leave the play, you get another resource on it, right? Oh, no, we just put another resource on you. Oh, I think that happens. I think I put one on when it came out, but it's supposed to only happen when it comes in, is how that goes. Unless it says leaves play. Nope, enters play. Okay, cool. So, yeah, that's a 5-4 at the moment. Stuff is still pretty bad. I don't know if we need this Necronomicon all that badly, but I think it might get stolen if we don't do something about it, so... Anyways, yeah. So he's got 5 will. Always important to note. Encounter cards. Beyond the Veil. Counter cards. Passage into the Veil. Test 3 will. Fail, either discard the top 5 cards of your deck or take a direct damage and deal 1 to each of your allies. Oh, I forgot to get an ally. Mr. Adam Lynch is currently hanging out with Jim. And that's important because Adam Lynch has the ability to treat the security office as a single action ability. And when he leaves play, we add a chaos token to the chaos bag for the remainder of the game. Okay, so this is a 3-will test for Jim. I am currently at 5 against 3. And I think discarding Arcane Studies puts us at 6 against 3. We really don't want to fail this one, but I also really need the resources, so I'm just going to do 6 against 3. 0 succeeds. Passage into the Veil is good. All right. Thanks, Adam. Beyond the Veil is done, so that leads us to the investigation phase. Hi, Zoe. So I was going to gain a bunch of resources and investigate, but now we might want a Zoe's Cross instead. After an enemy becomes engaged with you, spend a resource to deal damage to that enemy. Do you have a prey hunting horror? No, you just have hunter. So if I play Zoe's Cross here, that'll give me 1 damage against the horror immediately. Costs 1 though. The other thing we would really like right now is a gun. So resource, play a 45 automatic may be better. And our last will be a resource. Yeah, I guess that's where we gotta be. Okay, hunting horror is getting pretty big. Don't love that, but it's fine. Jim? You've got candles, which is great. I think resource, rate of seeking is actually a reasonable use of your time. Just because it actually allows you to investigate this location at a high value. And ideally, we'll be able to play ritual candles and just go pretty nuts, right? But things are still kind of bad. All right, so that drains Jim. Then we go to enemy phase. The hunting horror moves into Zoe's location, engages her, which causes Zoe to gain a resource, and then attacks her, which is a damage and a horror each. I can't counterpunch here, and I think it's the appropriate time to do so. Yep. So let's fight 5, 6, 7 against 4 at the moment. Throw a bandolier to make it 8 against 4. -1 succeeds. That's going to deal 2 damage to the hunting horror, which I apparently already had 2 damage token on it. Okay. So then that leads us to the upkeep phase. Resource and a card. Resource and a card. Jim, what you got? Fire axe. Nice. That's actually going to be really, really helpful later on. Not at the moment. Mythos phase. The doom goes to 1. The encounters are dealt. Each card in your hand, if there's a copy of that card in the discard pile, take a horror to a maximum of 3 horror. Oh, that's very bad. 45 automatic, vicious blow, unexpected courage, bandolier, counterpunch, and counterpunch. Huh. So notably, the counterpunch there actually saved us, I think, horror. Yeah, we're good. And then Jim, Visions of Future Past. Okay. If you take no horror, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Oh, that's actually worse. Because now we have 3 less cards, and we're still beyond the veil. So we may have to retire at some point. Okay, Jim. Hi. What are we doing? Visions of Future Past, testing 5 will. I predict this is going to succeed by 0. Yeah, 0 is my number. -4? Okay, so we didn't succeed. That's fine. We'll deal. When you did your upkeep, Jim, did you not gain a resource? Because you had a resource and then you drew a... No, never mind. I spent it all on shriveling. That's right. Okay, investigation phase. Action 1, ritual candles. Action 2, rite of seeking. That's a 7 will against 3. Tablet is a -3, and we do succeed. So we discover 3 clues at this location. 1, 2, 3. Action 2, I think we just investigate like 3 against 3. Well, we don't need to clear this hall. And Oppressive Mist is a problem. Oh, incidentally, I have to test Oppressive Mist to not discard the Fire Axe. That's 5 against. Skulls is 0, so we're fine. How about we just leave the security office and go to the museum halls? That seems fine. Okay. Zoe, hi. Action 1, fire a gun. So you're effectively 6 against 4 at the moment. taunt will be 7 against 4, and we can continue to discard taunts because, yeah, 6 against 4. 0 succeeds. That's 2 more damage to this thing. Maybe just like regular punch it now? Yeah, regular punch it 5 against 4. -5, we'll live and learn. We'll try that again, 7 against 4. Auto fail. Okay. Cool. It's got retaliate, so I take a damage and a horror. I don't know if I did that the last time either. Start the enemy phase, reveal a random chaos token from a chaos bag. If the revealed token has a symbol ready. Okay, so if it gets evaded, it's got a chance of unevading. Otherwise, I don't even have to care. Shoot a gun 6 against 4. Skull is a -4. So it retaliates again. And now we die, yes? Yep. Yeah, the hunting horror is going to kill Zoe now. And Jim's just going to have to either run or perish. I wonder what the penalty for failure is if we're defeated by the hunting horror. It's mental trauma again, too. I didn't think that we were going to have such a problem with it, but I forgot that the card has retaliate and is also already very big. Yeah. No, that went very poorly. Okay, Investigator phase is over. Enemy phase. Damage and a horror. Zoe is defeated with a mental trauma. We didn't even get to Act 2. Jim, you're left. Hi. So we go to Upkeep. Resource and a card for Jim. A Kukri. Oh, that's actually a very good weapon, assuming that we've got the right things going on. Okay, so Jim can handle the hunting horror for a little bit. Though it's not super helpful at the moment to do so. I believe Beyond the Veil is discarded. Everything else in Zoe's setup is just whatever. And the hunting horror is now just on Zoe's location. Alright, so action 1. Let's go ahead and reveal a museum hall. Why not? That's 2 clues. We should have 3. Not sure where the third is. Oh, I see. I didn't spend the ones from the entrance hall. So spend 2 of these to reveal a museum hall. We can at least like try to get an experience point out of this, but this is looking pretty dire. This is the second campaign that we're almost certainly going to lose. Okay, so museum hall reveals, or is played. Action 2, move into it. What alluring artifacts are displayed inside? Do they too hold a sinister secret? Do you fail a skill test while investigating this location? Take a horror. Okay. Action 3, we're going to investigate using Rite of Seeking for 5, 6, 7 against 3. We're going to spend a resource to make it 8 against 3, or... we need the Fire Axe, so... 7 against 3 is going to have to be good enough. Skull, that's a 0, so we get 3 clues from this location. Toot, toot, and beep, beep, yeah. Last action, play a Fire Axe. Bonk. You know, maybe we'll be okay. The hunting horror is doing things. It's not like a huge deal at the moment. Alright. Enemy phase, hunting horror moves here. Upkeep, resource and a card for Jim. Cool, drawn to the flame, love it. Encounters. Jim draws an encounter. Actually, sorry, Mythos. Doom goes to 2. Encounters. Oppressive Mists again. Great. That's fine, we're not drawing any cards here. Jim's got a lot of fight available. And a good will setup overall. I'd really like to investigate 4 against 3 with the arcane studies, even if it means taking a horror. I think that's reasonable. We do want to make sure that Adam Lynch gets out of here, though. Okay, so Investigator Phase. 4 against 3 for Jim. Or Bless is a skull, so that's a +1 with the ritual candles. So we get the last clue on this location. And that's a victory point. Action 2, move into the Hunting Horrors location. Action 3, we thwack it with a fire axe, yeah? Which is, oh, it's just a straight 3 against 4. That's a bit of a problem. And the card has Retaliate. Huh. Should I be gaining resources instead? I mean, how many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3 for Jim that are zeros? Oh, but we need a +1. So there's 3 +1s for Jim. I spent the resource to gain the thing I needed for the fight action for shriveling. Maybe instead I stay put. Oh, but then I have to do a will test. That's probably fine. Stay put, gain 2 resources. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, and then enemy phase. Hunting Horror moves onto my location and attacks me. It's a damage and a horror to poor Jim. Upkeep, resource and a card. Ooh, good. Okay. Yeah, all right. So, Mythos phase. Doom goes to 3. Encounters are dealt. Oh, and Jim's got to make a will test to not discard a card, which is currently 5. -2 against 3. We're fine. Twist of Fate. Reveal a random token. -4 is a damage. Jim's looking a little worse for wear. Okay. The Hunting Horror is... You ready it at the start of the enemy phase if the random chaos token... Okay. Well, Jim can just kill this thing if it gets a Doom or something on it. So I think we actually want to go... Action 1. Try to evade 4 against... It only gets bonuses to fight, right? It's still a 2 to evade. This remains attached to Hunting Horror if it enters the void. So actually the Hunting Horror has healed 2 damage because it successfully attacked and killed Zoe. Huh. That's important to know. All right, well, let's try to step to evade. The Hunting Horror is on us now, so... And where's its other card? Trying to find the Shadow Spawn. I really need to attach that dang thing. Maybe it got discarded? Present Mists. Nope. It's somewhere on this board. Here it is. It's got 2 resources on it. Okay, Jim. Hunting Horror's got 2 resources on it. It's got a lot of health. But it does not get... No, it... +1 fight, +1 health, and +1 evade. Okay, so it does get a bonus to evade. So I'm testing 4 against 4, but I'm also not testing against Retaliate, so yeah, let's give it a shot. Skull is a 0 +1, so we successfully evade the Hunting Horror, putting it on our location. Jim's gonna walk into the museum halls. I think at this point Jim reveals a location. Impressive Mists are at this location. If I reveal a location, It's 2 clues off Jim. We have 3 left. Oh, no, wait. We took all these, too. Reveal. Reveal. Put another museum into play. Are we going to go into the next exhibit hall? Or are we going to leave and resign? Like, Zoe's dead, so we could only, like, hope to gain a couple of experience points at this point. But on the other hand, gaining a couple of experience points is kind of all we're here for. I think going into the exhibit hall makes sense here, as does revealing another exhibit hall. Let's reveal another exhibit hall. If the enemy attacks us, we can fire axe it down and then run. Yeah, I'll reveal another exhibit hall. 1, 2. Put another one into play. We actually just need one more clue to reveal a last one, but I think we're mostly okay. All right. Enemy phase. We have to reveal a token. It's a -3, we're fine. But the hunting horror does ready. Upkeep. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. I was trying to attach these 2 things together. I don't remember how to do it. I think it's like a joint. Fixed joint? Yeah, I'll figure it out at some point. Okay, upkeep, we gain a resource and draw a card. Another Rite of Seeking, that's great. Mythos, Doom goes to 4. And counter cards are dealt. Inexplicable Cold, test for speed for each point failed by. Discard a card or take a damage. Okay. That's not great. Play or area or from your hand. Okay. Well, Jim's just testing 2. A skull is a +1 with ritual candles, so we have to discard 1 card. Which is probably going to be Drawn to the Flame. Actually, it's probably going to be Kukri. Okay. Not too bad. I think Jim's still got an Investigator in him. I think we can kind of get crazy here. Okay, Investigator phase. Walk into the exhibit hall. Do you fail a skill test while investigating this location? Lose an action. Not too bad, not too bad. Action 2. Rite of Seeking. That is 5, 6, 7 against 3. Spend a resource to make it 8 against 3. +1. Pick up 3 more clues from this location. For our last action, I think we investigate 3 against 3. No, actually, I think we play Shriveling. Discard Clairvoyance. Hello, Shriveling. Okay. Enemy phase. Hunting horror comes into the museum halls. Upkeep, resource and a card. Ineffable truth. Gosh, that's good. Okay, that's really solid, yeah. I still need to be able to heal damage in order to get through this, but I don't think we're totally skunked. I think I have to get rid of hunting horror at this stage. We'll see. Mythos. Problem is we can't get rid of hunting horror here because it'll come back during the agenda. 5. Encounters. Twist of Fate. Oh, that's very bad. Oh, good. It's actually a bad symbol, but that only deals horror to us, which is much better than getting a damage. Adam Lynch might get thrown into the void, which is not ideal. Okay, and now we're back into the investigator phase. Resource, ineffable truth is pretty strong. The main problem with that is that we get attacked. Another one I like is investigate 3 against 3. We lose an action if we fail. How about 5 against 3? 0 succeeds, get the last clue on this location. You know, it actually doesn't make a difference here if I... It kind of does. If I move and then attack, then Shriveling will deal 2. If I fail, then something's going to die. All right, move and then attack. I think this is the last exhibit that we can actually get, so... we're going to attack with Shriveling. So this is Will instead of Fight, which is 6 against 4. Not as good as I was hoping. I don't have anything to boost it, though. Tablet is a +1, but a minus... Oh, God. So that's a -3. 6 against 4. So I retaliate damage. And I take a damage rather than have Adam Lynch die. Although I think when Adam Lynch leaves play anyways when we die, we are immediately defeated. So that's a physical damage to Jim. What happens? Whatever the creature in the museum was, you had neither the will nor the tools to destroy it. It seems you have to give up any hope of recovering the Necronomicon. Even so, there are others depending on you. Gathering your courage, you prepare for the next task. Each investigator earns experience 2, and the investigators failed to recover the Necronomicon, and the Dunwich Legacy is going horribly. Okay, so we mark a physical trauma on Jim, we mark a mental trauma on Zoe, and we should decide right now if we're going to resign this campaign and let these investigators be dead to the hunting horror, or if we're going to try to proceed onwards. It'd be nice to practice the train a little bit. We have not earned a lot of experience. Our unspent experience is now 2. I still feel like these characters are pretty strong, but just not having 5s at certain times has been very much an issue, and the hunting horror coming out right then, that was super rough. I think evading the hunting horror early is really important. Like, you just need to, like, let it get some doom early on, be annoying, and then, like, get rid of it. But it constantly gets bigger, so it's a real threat, especially in Return 2. Okay. 2 down. I think we're gonna carry on to the train. Because, like, once we get the Essex County Express, so we don't have the Necronomicon. The train is gonna be a pretty interesting test. Problem is that Mystics just can't be our pure clue getters, I think. Like, we have too many resources to gain and too many things to do. This is feeling pretty fundamentally broken, but I love Jim and Zoe. They're so good. We might want to resign here and just call them deceased. I think it's really, I don't know. This might be an underdog story. We'll proceed on to the Essex County Express and see what we can get done there. Until then, actually, let's do our upgrades since that was a really short one, so we can certainly get that done. Let's go ahead and run into the Arkham drafting website and upgrade to XP. Go. Beat Cop. Strong card. Deals a lot of direct damage to enemies at your location. Gives you an extra fight. Lesson learned, also strong card, gives us clue getting, which we need. Beat Cop really allows us to do a lot of things that we would not otherwise be able to do, and it's a good charisma card as well, so I think we're going to take that, but that's close. All right, Jim, same thing. What's your thing? So we got Beat Cop level 2, and for Jim, we've got Guts level 3, Fearless level 2. Fearless level 2 is another Guts, which is nice, but Guts level 3 is very strong for us. Draws a bunch of cards, which we need. We do need extra skills, and this replaces bad cards in our deck, so yeah, I'll take the Fearless. Okay, so we'll build those into our decks. I think should just be pretty simple. I think we're going to swap out the Kukri for Fearless, and we're going to swap out something in Zoe's deck for the last one. But all right, until then, our very battered investigators are going to move on to the train and see if they can actually get themselves through the next scenario without getting murdered. If they fall off the train, that might be it. We're definitely not doing real well here. So we'll have to see if we can find. We'll have to see if these investigators survive. But so far, I'm in for the underdogs. And while they were defeated in the Miskatonic Museum, at least Jim was able to secure 2 victory points, which that's 2/3 of the. It's a third of the victory points that are there. So not bad. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time, and cheers.